I came out and said I didn't believe in God. And my cousin came up to me, and he's one of those U.S.A type. I'm a mixed martial art fighter. And he looked at me and he was like, if you're not right with God, you need to get right with him.
I hate atheists.
For all of you atheists out there, if God doesn't exist, who wrote the Bible? Think about that one. Think about it.
If you're a Christian, Bill, you want to live every day to the fullest and be good to your fellow man, right?
Absolutely.
But you also believe that there's a higher life and a higher being that's going to be there when you pass.
Right, usually intelligent people normally do. Look, the fact of the matter is,
Are you afraid that you could be wrong and there is a hell?
Atheists, according to a number of surveys, are widely distrusted in the United States, perhaps more so than just about any other group.
So who is part of this group that we shouldn't trust? You may recognize a lot of them.
A recent study conducted by the University of Minnesota found that atheists rank lower than Muslims, recent immigrants, gays, lesbians, and other minority groups in sharing their vision of American society. Atheists are also the minority group most Americans are least willing to allow their children to marry.
Why don't you guys assert atheism as a religion?
Because it's not a religion. It's the absence of religion.
Well, no, that's agnosticism. We've had this conversation before.
We want to stick to the truth here. We could try and do that, but it's not true. Atheism isn't a religion. It's the absence of religion. It's a religious position. And according to the Supreme Court, we do have all the rights that religions do.
So the fundamentalist view of the creation of the earth is rather like an episode of the Flintstones. So I have to laugh at those sort of things.
How does your atheism, which you're passionate about, how does that play with your American audience, given that so many people in America are God-fearing people and probably take exception to it?
Well, they shouldn't. We talked about this last time. Why should they take offence that I don't believe in their God or any other God? And I say to them, tell me the reasons why you don't believe in all the other gods, and that's the reason I don't believe in yours.
Atheists don't believe in anything. I mean, athea means no God. They've got no gods. That's what they don't have anything. So they don't believe in anything. But they can protest somebody who believes in something. I mean, isn't it a strange thing that we would allow somebody who doesn't believe in anything to restrict the freedom of those who do? I mean, it makes no sense.
All I can happen, all of a sudden you can just quit believing in God. Yeah. All of a sudden, there is no God. Yeah. Well, let me tell you, you want to know there's no God? Then you're going to get absolutely nothing. Nothing for Christmas, because that's what Christmas is about, is Jesus Christ.
Discrimination against atheism is still okay in this country, which is why American Atheists exists, and it's why we fight. Yeah. Discrimination against atheists is still rampant, it's still prevalent, but it's not okay, and it deserves to be fought, and it deserves to be fought hard and at its source.
I work with an atheist, and at one time I thought I could witness to her and bring her to Jesus. She gets openly hostile at the mere mention of God. She gets very angry just hearing the word God. Should I just abandon the idea of being a positive influence on her and just let her perish?
I don't know if you're dealing with something that is demonic or something that's deeply ingrained, but I mean, to be that openly hostile to the word God, there's something beyond normal human experience. Yeah, something has happened, and she associates God. Maybe she had an abusing father, somebody who raped her.
Rabbi, what do you make of this? Is there a connection between religious freedom and jobs?
Of course, God, I just came back from Poland a few days ago. If you see the communist, atheist squalor, the box buildings, the lack of any kind of business, commercial, or architectural imagination, the communism under the Russians and the Chinese, when they suppressed religion, their economies were like 6 feet under. And now that they've actually opened their societies to religious expression, they're experiencing some of the growth the United States has seen, because the historian Paul Johnson says America believed in manifest destiny. It had a spiritual belief in its ability to spread from sea to shining sea. He even says that companies like Coca-Cola use religion in their advertising. It's the real thing.
Most studies on survivors show that the atheists die first, because if you don't believe in something supernatural, how can you imagine that you yourself have supernatural abilities enough to survive?
And we take God out of our society and we have lost our freedoms. And that's what will happen in a secular society, and next thing you know, we'll have a secular, atheistic dictatorship, and that we don't want.
Christianity has adopted many of the best values of humanity, but they don't belong to Christianity, or indeed to any other religion. I think it would be very sad if it were true that you really did need religion in order to be good. Because if you think about it, what that would mean would be either that you get your morals and your values from the Bible or the Quran or some other holy book, or that you are good only because you're frightened of God, because you don't want to go to hell or you do want to go to heaven. Now, as for getting your morals from the Bible, I very sincerely hope nobody does get their morals from the Bible.
I think for me, choosing to be an atheist came pretty easily and at a young age. And my family does not agree with it. So it's really hard. It's really hard.
So why don't those atheists just go away? I mean, what good do they serve anyway? Why do they even exist? Well, maybe it's because atheists can't exist unless someone claims there is a God. In a world where no one claims there is a supernatural being that created everything, there cannot be any atheists. So, religious people, you have your very own religion to blame for our existence.